Hi viewers, in this video I'm gonna tell you about the first emperor of China and the Terracotta warriors. So don't skip the video and watch it completely. The Dynasty of Terracotta was originated by the state of Qin, one of the many small feudal states into which China was divided between 771 and 221 BCE. The Qin, which occupied the strategic Wye River Valley in the extreme northwestern area of country, was one of the least Sinicized of those small states and one of the most martial. Between the middle of the 3rd and end of the 2nd century, the rulers of Qin began to centralize state power, creating a rigid system of laws that were applicable throughout the country and dividing the state into a series of commanderies and prefectures ruled by officials appointed by the central government. In 246 BC, the boy king Ying Zheng came to the throne. He, together with his minister Louis, completed the Qin quest and in 221 created the Qin Empire. Ying Zheng proclaimed himself Qin Shi Haung, the first sovereign emperor of Qing. To rule the vast territory, the Qin instituted a rigid authoritarian government. They standardized the writing system, standardized the measurements of length and weight and width of the highways, abolished all feudal privileges, oversaw large-scale construction of what then became the first Great Wall. The Qin dynasty left two architectural monuments of massive proportions, one of the Great Wall of China, which actually connected sections of a number of existing short walls, and the other a great palace for the first emperor, which contained a hall of state some 1500 feet 450 meters square. Qin dynasty established the first great Chinese empire, the Qin, which lasted only from 221 to 207 BCE, but from which the name of China is derived, established the approximate boundaries and basic administrative system that all subsequent Chinese dynasties were to follow for the next 2 millennia. As a ruler of Qin, after Ying Zheng took the name as Qin Shi Haung, he began a military-driven expansionist policy. In 221 BC, the Qin seized Zhao territory and continued until they seized all 5 Zhao states to create a unified Chinese empire in 221 BC. Advised by Lu Sheng, Qin Shi Haung traveled in secrecy through a system of tunnels and lived in secret locations to facilitate communing with immortals. The citizens were discouraged from using the emperor's personal name in documents, and anyone who revealed his location would face execution. The Qin worked quickly to unify his conquered people across a vast territory that was home to several different cultures and languages. One of the most important outcomes of Qin conquest was the standardization of non-alphabetic written script across all of China. This script was simplified to allow faster writing, useful for record-keeping. The new script enabled parts of the empire that did not speak the same language to communicate together, and led to the founding of an imperial academy to oversee all texts. The Qin also standardized weights and measures, casting bronze medals for measurements and sending them to local governments, who would then impose them on merchants to simplify trade and commerce across the empire. In conjunction with these bronze coins were created to standardize money across the regions. With all these Qin advances, for the first time in the history, the various warring states in China were unified. The name China, in fact, is derived from the word Qin, which was written as Qin in earlier Western texts. The vast complex of terracotta statuary, weapons, and other treasures, including the tomb of Qin Shi Haung himself, is now famous as Terracotta Army. The figures, dating approximately the last 3rd century, were discovered in 1974 by a local farmer in China. The figures vary in height according to their roles, the tallest being the generals. The figures include warriors, chariots, and horses. Estimates from 2007 were that the 3 pits containing the Terracotta Army held more than 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots with 520 horses, and 150 cavalry horses, the majority of which remain buried in the pits near Qin Shi Haung's museum. Other terracotta non-military figures were found in other pits, including officials, acrobats, strongmen, and musicians. Excavation of the tomb of Qin Shi Haung has been delayed due to high levels of toxic mercury at the site. It's believed that the emperor had liquid mercury installed in the tomb of Mimic River. So this was a short documentary about the first emperor of China and the Terracotta Army.